believe it or not, my 17-year-old nephew who graduated from high school early is the one who made the connection on this deal.
Nice. I
Pretty
love it.
cool. So it's a 40-acre industrial site in North Charleston. It is the largest industrial and business zoned or B2 zoned site that I've seen in this location. Currently being operated as a staging location for a construction company, along with a concrete recycling business that he has.
Okay.
He kind of just like fell into this, got it for like 2.4 about 4 or 5 years ago. He's looking to get 15 to 20 million for the site. And it's definitely a development play, and I'm just trying to figure out the best way to underwrite all of the different factors that are subjective from, development, stormwater, all of those things to know if we can even get close to that number.
So just curious, I see here in your notes to me, you had mentioned you'd ran through the idea of parceling out and building 38 separate 4,500 square foot properties. I'm just curious, why are you suggesting going smaller properties versus one large building?
Because well, in this location, it would be a little different because most of the industrial in Charleston is about 20 miles north outside of Charleston, and everything's built around like fingerlings of water. So this location being really close to 26 and 526 is different. But there's an gross oversupply of large industrial. And I know from what I have listed now and the calls that I'm getting that there's a major undersupply of single tenant freestanding warehouse that has the right ceiling heights. Everybody needs somewhere between 18 to 20, and the things that are in this location tend to be like 10, 14-foot ceiling heights. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I went to it. And honestly, it's a little bit easier. I have one under contract right now, and my brain just kind of just popped there.
Well, the only reason why I'm asking is because I know that there might be the idea of getting 38 different individuals to buy these properties might be a little complicated. However, I think doing like small bay flex for half of it and then larger for the rest might be interesting. They have the ability, they can condo them out, but I definitely wouldn't do individual parcels.
That
In my
makes sense.
mind, because like in my mind, I'm like, why not just, I mean, 40 acres? I mean, obviously, look, there's a lot of zoning stuff that we could talk about, which obviously we'd have to dive into separately. Like actually understanding like what actually can be built density wise, square foot, like on a square foot basis. Is there any wetlands? Understanding more of like the site work that would be required and how much actually, total, blanking on the exact word for it, the maximum coverage that we could get on this piece would be interesting to know.
It's about 70%.
Well, think about it. I mean, think about how nuts that is. Okay, this is 40 acres. Okay, so 40 times 30, 43, 560 is 1.7 million square feet times zero point 0.7. You can build 1.2 million square feet on this piece of property, if that's accurate. So it's like you can build 1.2 million square feet, call it 500,000. I mean, just being really conservative, 500,000 feet of small bay flex and 500,000 square feet of large, super large industrial. You have a million square feet now, right? So probably at a minimum, if 70 is accurate, depending on your site work and what else is required, we call it a million at, what's the price per square foot in this market for brand new construction? I mean, I'm thinking like at least high hundreds of foot, maybe mid to low twos at a worst case scenario.
Yeah, I'm thinking around like 280.
I mean, 280 would be insanity, right? I mean, time a million square feet times even, let's just say 200 a foot, right? That's $200 million worth of real estate here that can be built. And I agree with you. I think it could be much north of that, right? It could be 280 million, right? Like, it depends on the square foot. I mean, there's a lot of nuance here. But like, I have some big time developers who would look at this for sure. The question is, without the approvals and other things, like it might make sense for us to look at it from the lens of maybe you lock. I mean, like again, there's a lot of what ifs, but going to the town and saying, hey, what do you want to see here? What can be built here would be important to look at. And then once you can get an idea, like very clearly from the town, depending on what they say and what's actually like by right buildable for like without going for variances and other things. That way you can get a clear idea, but this might even be something that we can lock up and go through the approval process to try to get other things built. I have some developers who maybe would buy it beforehand, but there's a lot of what ifs unless this is an actual steal of a price per square foot. If hypothetically you can build 1 million feet, if you can get 1 million feet and you can get this for
He wants 15 to 20.
Yeah, getting that for 20 a foot might be insanity. So it could be. Now, again, it depends on what you can actually build there. I don't know that answer, right? Like, we could dive into it. I can, help you with the calls to town and understand what you can build there. The more clarity, the better.
I'm
Uh,
pretty certain that you can definitely build flex space there. I'm working with two other groups that are building flex space in that specific zoning, and they're doing it in B2 because North Charleston's super scrappy about getting their taxes up. So they're pretty liberal. And this site's also located right between I-26 and a railroad track and a runway strip for the airport. So there's not really a lot of feasibility for anything else that's going to go there.
the question is just like understanding the max coverage allowance, understanding like what site work they're going to want, what of the land is actually buildable. That is the question, right? And I don't know that answer without like if they have a survey, that would help a lot. So getting a few of those things, keep in mind that like this is either, something that's worth 5 or 6 or 7 million or something that could be worth 50 million. It's like one of those things where like unless you do the true underwriting and understanding and speaking to a bunch of people in that market, it's hard to know.
Okay.
But when you're pitching it out, by the way, I would tell people at least 30 just to get some feedback. Because they're either going to love it at 30 or they're going to hate it. Like they wouldn't even pay 15. But yeah, if you needed more support, let me know. I definitely have some people who'd be interested in taking a look at something like that and have the means to do so. So
Fantastic. Thank you.
awesome. Yeah, you got it. Best of luck.